They laughed at him. They called him useless. They said he would never amount to anything. But what they didn't know was that they were talking to the wrong boy. In a small, forgotten town, a boy named Ayaan was born into a life that gave him very little. Cracked walls, a leaking roof, a family that counted every coin. Every morning, he walked to school in worn-out shoes. And every morning, the whispers followed him like shadows. He never responded. He just walked forward. But at night, when the world fell silent and the rest of the town drifted to sleep, Ayaan sat beneath a flickering bulb, books open, eyes burning, heart heavy. He wasn't studying for grades. He was studying for escape, because buried deep inside that tired, quiet chest lived one unshakable belief that this would not be his whole story. Then came the day the results were posted. Ayaan scanned the list once, then twice. His name was not where it was supposed to be. He had failed. The laughter came fast. It always does. Relatives shook their heads, neighbours clicked their tongues, even people who barely knew him had something to say. That night, Ayaan sat alone in the dark. He didn't cry out loud. He just sat there, with the silence and the weight, and a terrifying thought that crept in for the very first time. What if they're right? His hand reached for his books, and slowly, gently, he closed them.
But something inside him was not finished yet. Morning came. Ayaan stood in front of a cracked mirror and looked at himself. Really looked. Hollow eyes, slumped shoulders, a face that had absorbed too much pain. But in those eyes, a tiny fire still burned. He leaned forward and whispered to his own reflection one more time. Not for them, not to prove anything to anyone, just one more time. He made no grand announcement. He told no one. He simply made 3 silent promises to himself. No more excuses, no more fear, no more stopping. And from that day forward, before the sun rose and before the town woke up, Ayaan was already at his desk. The months that followed were not dramatic. There were no magical moments, no one cheering him on, just Ayaan and the work. There were mornings he wanted to give up, evenings when the weight felt impossible to carry, nights when doubt crept back in like an old enemy. But he had learned something from his failure, that his critics never could, that pain is loud, progress is quiet. So he stayed quiet, and he kept going day after day, page after page, hour after hour. While others talked about their dreams, Ayaan was silently building his.
Exam day arrived like any other morning. Ayaan felt no panic, no desperation, just readiness. Weeks later, the results were announced. His hands trembled slightly as he looked at the board. He found his name. He read the number beside it, and he went completely still. Not because he had simply passed, but because he had ranked first. The applause came from the very mouths that had mocked him, the praise from the very voices that had once broken him. Ayaan looked at all of them and said nothing. He just smiled, because he knew the truth. No one had believed in him. No one except himself. If you are watching this from a place of pain, if someone has told you that you are not enough, if failure has made you question everything you ever believed about yourself, then hear this. Your circumstances are not your conclusion. Your setbacks are not your sentence. Your story is not over. The world will not always believe in you. That is not a tragedy. That is the test. So work in silence. Stay in silence and let your results do the talking. Because one day, not too far from now, the soul world that doubted you will be watching in disbelief.